Now, contrary to popular belief, Upwork can actually be one of the best places to start getting SMMA clients for your agency in the e-commerce niche. Now, in this video, I'm going to explain what I mean by that and the caveats that are associated with that kind of bold statement. Now, as always, guys, you know the drill by now. Go ahead and smash the like button. It takes a split second to do so. And while you're at it, make sure you go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Massively helps out with the YouTube algorithm. And also, you kind of don't want to miss out on the crazy amounts of value that I give you on this channel completely for free. So make sure you go ahead and subscribe. So what do I mean? Let's have a chat about it. What do I mean about Upwork being in a really, really good place to start getting SMMA clients for your agency in the e-commerce niche? You know, I think I've even got another video on the channel talking about this, and I'm pretty sure in that video, it was quite a long time ago, but I was going against the idea. Now, I'm still against the idea of it, but if you're starting out and you're massively struggling, right? You always want to put outbound prospecting through email outreach, finding brands online, and reaching out to them through email. You always want to put that on a pedestal because that's how you find those top brands. That's how you find the brands where you're able to spend 100,000 a month, you're able to bring in 300K a month. That's how you're able to find those brands who are at 15, 20K a month, and they're actively wanting to ramp up. They just need that good marketing strategy in place to do so, that good kind of roadmap to follow in order to do so. That's where you find those really amazing brands. You know, you bring that 15K a month client on and you ramp them up to 100K, 200K a month, and you take a percentage. You know, that's how you find those brands. That's how you get the brands to pay you 8, 9, 10, 15 grand a month, right? But if you're starting out, I know this because I was in that position once. You know, when I transitioned from the real estate niche with my agency to the e-com niche, I was in that position. I didn't know how to reach out to clients. And even when I did try to reach out to clients through the, normal ways of outbound prospecting, I just wasn't getting any good results, right? But I didn't know about the potential and the kind of the foundations that Upwork can provide. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, if you're an experienced agency owner, first things first, don't look at Upwork. Don't look at Upwork. However, if you're starting out, you're really struggling to sign clients, what Upwork can do, and this is why I'm kind of an advocate for it now, what Upwork can do is it can provide you with a proof of concept. Now, any business must have a proof of concept in order to scale. If it doesn't have a proof of concept, it's never gonna scale. That's just fundamental business knowledge, right? That's just what a business is, right? It's a proof of concept that you found a way to duplicate over and over again, and that's how you scale up a brand or a business or whatever, right? What Upwork can do for your agency is it can provide that proof of concept because it's very easy to get clients on Upwork, right? Because you're basically going to the place that all of these brands go to find work or to find an agency, right? In order for these brands to find an agency, not every single brand, right? Because as I say, it kind of cuts out the higher caliber of brands because the higher caliber of brands don't go to Upwork. However, the lower caliber of brands, the brands that are maybe at 5, 10K a month, maybe 15K a month, they may go to Upwork, and they do go to Upwork. And so if you go there, you're going where all the brands are. So it's very easy to sign clients through Upwork. And so what you can do is get a client under your belt, quickly get them on board, and you can start going through the necessary feedback loops needed in order to grow your agency. In order to grow your agency, in order to scale an agency or any business, you need to go through the necessary feedback loops, right? What I mean by that is more so with service delivery, right? Because there's feedback loops inside of outreach, there's feedback loops inside of team building, the entire agency is a feedback loop. There's feedback loops in management of your team and stuff like that. But if you go to Upwork, then you don't need to go through the necessary feedback loops of outreach and client acquisition because it's very easy on there, right? So it's mainly service delivery. But what you can do is you can get a client on board and you can start to build your service delivery process in terms of building a process that generates results. That is your proof of concept. If you build a way of generating clients, right, a good client acquisition strategy, that isn't a proof of concept. What that is just a way for you to scale your brand or your agency. That's not a proof of concept. A proof of concept is basically whatever the customer is buying or the client is buying. In this case, what they're buying is your service. A proof of concept means that whatever that product is, whatever that service is, again in the agency space, it's the service of running ads. That is your proof of concept. If that delivers on what you say, if that says what it's gonna do, if that does what it says it's gonna do, right? That is then when you built a proof of concept. And so that is what you can build through Upwork when you're starting out. Because when you're starting out, you don't know. I don't wanna, throw shade on you guys, but and so when I say this, I mean it with the utmost respect. I was in that space as well once, but you don't know anything in terms of real life situations and whatnot, simply because you've not been through them, right? The reason my agency operates right now roughly at around 60,000 a month is because I've just completed more feedback loops. I've gone through the iterations far more times than you have currently. But once you go through them, you'll be able to get to 60,000 a month. You'll be able to get to 100,000 a month. You'll be able to do it, right? You just need to go through the necessary feedback loops and iterations required. And so, as I say, what Upwork can provide you is a chance for you to start going through those right now. Instead of you continuing outreach for 2 months or 3 months, well, you can still continue your outreach 100%. I do not recommend to stop that, because that's where you get the real high caliber of clients. But basically, instead of waiting 2 months to start going through the iterations, to start building your service delivery process, because at the end of the day, your service delivery process is the most important thing about your agency. A lot of the times I see these people talking about client acquisition and stuff like that, and it's very important, right? But if you don't have a strong service delivery process, you're not going to be able to scale an agency past 6 figures. I can guarantee it, right? So that's the most important thing. And so basically that's what I mean when I say Upwork can be a really good place to get clients when you're starting out. And the reason being is because instead of you waiting 2 months, 3 months in order to sign a client and then start building your service delivery process, well, you can still do your outbound prospecting on the side, but you can start today with an Upwork client of building that service delivery process. And even if the client isn't the greatest fit, even if they're not the most perfect client in the world, you're still going to get the chance to go inside of a real life ads manager, spend real money and generate real money, and figure out the best ways to generate the highest possible level of return for that specific brand. You start to, you get real life situations of running ads, of crafting ad copy, of using different creatives, seeing real life data come through the ad account and whatnot. And from there, that's where you can start to build a good service delivery process, right? In real life. And so that's really why Upwork can be very powerful for you if you're starting out with your agency, because it's a really good way to quickly get clients under your belt, quickly build that proof of concept, quickly go through and figure out the best way to deliver results in a real life situation. And the other really good thing about it is that for the most part, you don't need as big of track record as you would do sometimes when it comes to outbound prospecting and email outreach. Usually with outbound prospecting, the best results, when you're going to get the best results, is when you've got a really good track record and you can say, look, this is one of our clients, generated them over 200,000 last month, and that's just because of X, Y, and Z, whatever it is, right? You got that track record. However, when you're starting out, you just don't have that track record. And so as I say, a good alternative can be Upwork, because you just don't need as big a track record, usually for the most part, on Upwork, which means you can get those clients in under your belt, start building that proof of concept, and start building that track record, start to generate those case studies. So then when you go back to your outreach, you've got amazing case studies. You can now say, last month we generated this client 100K, and it's thanks to Upwork, or 50K, or 10, even 10K is going to be better than nothing, right? So that's why I'd recommend it. Now, you're probably sat there and you're probably thinking, well, if it's first of all that easy to get clients and it can provide all of those pros, why don't we just always do outreach through Upwork? Why don't we just ramp our agency to 100,000 a month through Upwork? Well, there's an issue, and these are the caveats to it. I only recommend to do it when you're starting out. If you're experienced, as I said before, don't do it. There's no need to do it, first of all, but also you don't want to do it because it's going to have an adverse effect for your agency. Why? Well, because for the most part, people go to Upwork with these connotations around it, right? Upwork naturally has these connotations of cheap, quick work, short-term work, right? Most of the time, people don't go to Upwork or these freelance websites with the idea of bringing somebody on board for, 2 years, right? Usually it's just a one-time project, maybe a month, 2 months, right? Max, maybe 3 months if you're lucky. Short-term work, and they go there looking for cheap work, right? That's what these, again, sites are associated for. And also, kind of says it in the name, freelancing websites, right? They don't go to look for an agency. So if you're trying to build a real agency, a genuine business with a team, well, you're not a freelancer at that point, you're an agency. And so sometimes you'll find that on these sites, the people or the clients, right, potential clients, actually don't want an agency because they're not there to look for an agency, they're there to look for a freelancer. So sometimes you'll find that, and that can obviously have an issue. But one of the biggest things, and this is why I say, So just get off of Upwork as quick as you can. If you need to use it, just use it and then leave, right? As soon as you can. And the reason is because, as I said before, it has the connotations of being cheap. And so this has two issues. Most people would think, okay, that's only gonna be that, my retainer won't be as high, or they won't be able to pay me as much. And that's true. But then you may also think, well, I can just add on a ROAS deal and just add on a ROAS deal. Yeah, they'll only pay me 500 instead of 5,000 a month in a flat fee. That sucks, but I can just add on a ROAS deal and make my money there. Well, yes, you can technically, and you most definitely can do that through outreach. But the issue is that they are cheap and they don't have that much money, right? And so they're gonna pay you a very small amount. First things first, your retainer is gonna be a lot lower. But also that means that when they go to market, when you guys go to run the ads, you're only gonna have maybe a couple hundred a month, maybe a couple thousand a month if you're lucky, right? And so what that means is that, first of all, it's gonna be much harder to generate results, right? It's so much harder to generate results when you have a small amount of money to play with, because you're so constrained to this small, tightly fit barriers in terms of what you can do inside of the ad in terms of the ads manager ad account. But also that ROAS deal is gonna be basically non-existent, right? 15% on $1,000 is $150. That's nothing, right? Whereas 15% on $100,000 is $15,000. So, but you're not gonna be able to get that 100,000 return, or even that 50,000 return, or even the 30,000 return. You're not gonna be able to get that because the budget is so small. The only time really ROAS deals are very, very lucrative, very, very profitable is when your client's spending a bare minimum of 10,000 a month, ideally $1,000 a day, 30,000 a month. That's where you start to see these real big retainers coming in, or I should say ROAS billables coming in, because you're billing your 15%, your 10%, your 17.5%, your 20%, 25%. You're billing that on a huge number instead of a couple $100, and at that point it's just not worth anything. So that is how I would use Upwork, and I say use because that is what you want to do. You want to use it and then you want to get out, right? You don't want to leverage it to build your brand. You don't want to do that. You want to just literally use it to build a proof of concept, get a couple clients under your belt, start completing those feedback loops, those iteration loops that are required to build and ramp your agency, and then get out. Use what you got, the case studies, the potentially a testimonial, whatever it is. Use that for your outreach, your outbound prospecting, because that's where you're gonna get those heavy hitters. That's where you're gonna get a high client caliber. That's how you're gonna start to work with those amazing e-com founders and just founders overall. You're gonna have those bigger budgets to play with, and you're gonna get paid what you're actually worth instead of 3, 4, 5x below that. So hopefully this video helped you with your outreach, helped you sign clients if you're very much a beginner agency owner. And as always, if it did, take the split second that it does take to smash the like button and subscribe to the channel. And with that being said, I will see you in the next video.